You finally sit down to relax, and your heart suddenly feels loud and fast. That reaction can be confusing, because you're doing the exact opposite of stress. But a racing heart at rest often isn't random. It's usually your nervous system switching gears and noticing signals it ignored while you were busy. When the room gets quiet, your body's internal noise gets easier to hear. Sometimes it's a leftover adrenaline echo from the day. Sometimes it's a learned pattern. Your brain expects something to happen when you stop. And sometimes it's simple physiology, like dehydration, caffeine, or a big meal changing your circulation. The goal here isn't to label you as anxious. The goal is to give you a practical mental model for why this happens, what tends to trigger it, and what helps your body settle. By the end, you'll be able to sort normal stress response from worth checking without spiraling in your head. Moving to slide 2. A helpful starting point is this. Your heart rate is controlled mostly by your autonomic nervous system. That's the automatic wiring that runs breathing, digestion, temperature, and circulation without you thinking about it. It has 2 main modes that matter here. The sympathetic system is your mobilize mode, faster heart rate, more alertness, more fuel available. The parasympathetic system is your recover mode, slower heart rate, more digestion, more repair. Relaxing is basically asking your body to shift from mobilize to recover. But gear shifts can be bumpy. If your day was intense, your sympathetic system may still be partially on, even when you sit down. And if you've been pushing through stress for hours, your body may only now be processing it. So the racing heart isn't always the start of stress. It can be the moment you finally notice what was already happening. Moving to slide 3. One of the most common reasons your heart races when you try to relax is delayed stress chemistry. Adrenaline and related stress hormones don't vanish the second you sit down. They taper off. If you've been rushing, arguing, driving in traffic, or juggling deadlines, your body may have been running hot for hours. When you stop moving, your brain checks in with the body again. That's when you feel the heartbeat, the chest flutter, or the sudden alertness. It can feel backwards, like relaxing caused it. But often the timeline is simply delayed. This is also why it can happen at night. You lie down, your mind slows, and the body finally gets the message that it can unload the day. The unloading can feel like a surge. If you've ever finished a stressful task and then felt shaky afterward, it's the same pattern. The stress response ends, and you finally feel it. Moving to slide 4. Another big driver is hypervigilance, your brain scanning for danger even when nothing is happening. If you've been under pressure for a while, your baseline can shift. Quiet doesn't feel neutral. Quiet feels like, wait, what am I missing? When you try to relax, your attention turns inward. You detect a heartbeat that was always there, and the brain can interpret it as a signal. Then you check again. That extra monitoring can increase arousal, which can raise heart rate, which gives you more to monitor. That loop is one reason people say, I can't relax because my heart starts racing. It's not that you're imagining it, it's that attention and physiology influence each other. A practical reframe helps. A faster heartbeat is not automatically a threat. It's a body sensation. The key is reducing the checking behavior, not forcing calm in one moment. Moving to slide 5. Breathing patterns matter more than most people realize. When you're stressed, you often breathe faster and higher in the chest. Then when you try to relax, you might start trying to breathe, which can accidentally turn into overbreathing. Overbreathing can lower carbon dioxide in the blood. That doesn't mean you're low on oxygen. It means the balance shifts, and your body can respond with lightheadedness, tingling, and a sense of a pounding heart. Another pattern is breath holding. People hold their breath while scrolling, thinking, or bracing. When you finally exhale, the body can rebound with a stronger heartbeat. None of this is about perfect breathing technique. It's about noticing extremes, too fast, too forced, or too held. A calmer rhythm is usually slower, quieter, and more effortless than you think, and it often starts with a longer exhale. Moving to slide 6. What you consume can quietly set the stage for a racing heart at rest. Caffeine is the obvious one. Even if it doesn't make you feel wired, it can increase heart rate and make heartbeats feel more noticeable. Nicotine can do something similar. Dehydration is another underestimated factor. With less fluid, blood volume can drop slightly, and the heart may beat faster to maintain circulation. Heavy meals can also change things. Digestion pulls blood toward the gut, and your heart may work a bit harder, especially if the meal is large, very sugary, or very salty. Some people notice palpitations after energy drinks, pre-workout products, or strong coffee late in the day. The point isn't that these are bad, it's that your relaxing moment might be the first quiet moment after those inputs. If you want a simple experiment, track timing, what you had, and when the racing heart shows up. Moving to slide 7. Posture and position can change your heart sensations more than you'd expect. When you lie down, blood returns to the chest more easily. That can make your heartbeat feel stronger, even if the rate isn't dramatically higher. Slouching can also compress the chest and abdomen, making breathing feel restricted and heartbeats feel more forceful. On the other hand, standing up quickly can cause a brief heart rate jump as your body stabilizes blood pressure. Some people are more sensitive to these shifts, especially when tired, dehydrated, or after a big meal. This is why I notice it most on the couch, is a real clue. It may be the position, not the relaxation itself. A simple adjustment is to prop yourself slightly, loosen anything tight around the waist, and let your breath settle before you start evaluating what you feel. Sometimes the sensation changes within a minute or two. Moving to slide 8. Sleep and fatigue are huge because they change your baseline. When you're sleep deprived, your body often runs with more sympathetic tone, more go signal, less recover signal. That can mean a higher resting heart rate and more sensitivity to stress. Poor sleep can also make you more reactive to normal sensations. A heartbeat that you'd ignore on a well-rested day can feel intense when you're exhausted. There's also the timing problem. Many people try to relax only at the end of the day, when they're already depleted. That's when the nervous system is least flexible. If you notice racing heart mostly at night, it may be a combination of accumulated stress plus low recovery. The practical takeaway is to build small decompression moments earlier, 2 minutes between tasks, a short walk, a slow exhale reset, so the evening isn't your first real pause. Moving to slide 9. Exercise can play a role in 2 different ways. First, if you're deconditioned, even mild activity can keep your heart rate elevated longer afterward, and you may notice it when you finally sit down. Second, if you train hard, you can get a delayed stimulation effect. Intense workouts raise adrenaline, body temperature, and fluid needs. If you finish training, then collapse on the couch, your heart may still be in cooldown mode. That's normal physiology, but it can feel alarming if you expected instant calm. Also, some people do workouts late in the day, which can make it harder to downshift before sleep. The takeaway isn't to avoid exercise. Studies show regular movement often supports a calmer baseline over time. It's more about spacing, hydration, and cooldown. A gentle taper, slower walking, longer exhales helps your nervous system understand that the effort is over. Moving to slide 10. Sometimes the racing feeling is actually a rhythm issue called palpitations. Palpitations are the sensation of skipped beats, extra beats, or a fluttering in the chest. Many palpitations are benign, like occasional premature beats that happen in healthy people, especially with stress, caffeine, or fatigue. The tricky part is that benign palpitations can feel dramatic because the pause after an extra beat can make the next beat feel like a thump. When you're active, you may not notice them. When you're lying still, you do. That said, rhythm symptoms deserve respect. If you have fainting, chest pain, severe shortness of breath, or episodes that are new and intense, it's wise to get evaluated. The goal is not to self-diagnose. It's to recognize that racing can mean rate, force, or rhythm, and those are different experiences with different causes. Moving to slide 11. Let's talk about what actually helps in the moment, without turning it into a battle. First, name what's happening in a neutral way. My heart is speeding up, and my body is trying to regulate. That reduces the threat story. Second, stop the constant checking. If you keep taking your pulse every 20 seconds, you're teaching your brain that this sensation is dangerous. Third, use a downshift cue that your body understands. The simplest is extending the exhale, gently, for several breaths. You can also relax your jaw and shoulders, because tension there often keeps the alarm system on. If your mind is racing, give it one small job, like slowly counting exhales to 10, then starting over. And if you're lying flat and it feels worse, change position slightly and wait a minute before re-evaluating. The win condition is not perfect calm. It's breaking the loop so your system can settle on its own. Moving to slide 12. Longer term, the most effective approach is reducing the mismatch between a high-stress life and a sudden demand for instant relaxation. If your days are packed, your nervous system adapts to constant input, then you expect one quiet moment to fix everything. A better plan is to practice downshifting in small doses. Think of it like teaching your body a still. 2 minutes of slower breathing after a meeting. A short walk after work before you sit. A consistent wind-down routine that starts before you're exhausted. Also look at the basics that make your heart more reactive: sleep consistency, hydration, and stimulant timing. If you notice a pattern with heavy meals or late caffeine, adjust the timing and see what changes. And if you're prone to worry about symptoms, consider structured tools like mindfulness practice or cognitive behavioral techniques, which studies show can reduce symptom-focused anxiety. The goal is resilience. Moving to slide 13. It also helps to know when to get checked, because uncertainty fuels anxiety. A racing heart can have many causes beyond stress, like thyroid issues, anemia, infections, dehydration, or side effects from supplements and medications. That doesn't mean something is wrong. It means the symptom has a wide menu of explanations. Consider an evaluation if the episodes are new for you, getting more frequent, or happening with minimal triggers. Also take it seriously if you have chest pain, fainting, severe shortness of breath, or a strong family history of heart rhythm problems. If you use a wearable, treat it as a clue, not a verdict. Devices can be helpful, but they can also increase checking. The most productive mindset is gather a few observations, timing, triggers, duration, associated symptoms, and bring that to a clinician if needed. Clarity is calming, even when the answer is simply, your system is stressed. Moving to slide 14. Bring it all together with a simple checklist you can remember. If your heart races when you try to relax, first ask, what mode was I in for the last few hours? Rushing or recovering? Second, did I add stimulants, miss water, or eat a heavy meal? Third, am I breathing quietly, or am I forcing it? Fourth, am I checking and scanning, or letting the sensation pass? And fifth, is there any red flag symptom that deserves medical attention? Most of the time, the fastest path to relief is not fighting the heartbeat. It's creating conditions where your body can finish the stress cycle. A longer exhale, a small posture change, a decision to stop monitoring for a few minutes. If you want one action step, try a 2-minute downshift once a day, even when you feel fine. That trains your system to associate stillness with safety. One question for you. Do you notice the racing heart more when you lie down or more when you sit? Share lie down or sit in the comments. And if you want more calm, practical explanations like this, subscribe. This information is not a substitute for medical advice. Longevity is built daily, not discovered later.